Greetings everyone, this is P and welcome to another episode of Call of Duty 4 Noclip. Today we're gonna see the map Hunted, which is a pretty cool map with this very intense opening. So yeah, you see there's no player, it's just an animation on the player view. First I just want to show you guys the whole map and everything. You see that there is some sort of render distancing, which could either be due to fog. Let me see how fog works. No, I don't think it's fog. It's probably just cool distance, if that's the correct name. But anyway, we can see the map without problem either way. Now, an interesting thing here is that we see that the terrain is fading with the skybox from distance, which is a cool method of doing stuff. That is, I assume because we have the helicopter intro and we see this area, and you wouldn't want some rough edges between the terrain and the skybox, so this is quite a nice middle ground for the map designers to blend the map with the skybox if it is necessary. From this point of view, we see some really rough terrain work, which is not really observable from any in-game perspective, but it's interesting to see those. But it's fine. We see this nice little path over here, which I never actually noticed before. That's cool. The terrain work is really cool, although, if I may say so. Yeah, those out of map areas. Not much else to see in this area. Let's go to the farmer house. So I won't start the sequence now. So I just want to show you that there's actually no room in here. This is where the farmer is running after this sequence, if he stays alive, of course. So there's nothing here. There is, my guess is that there is invisible walls here. If I just, yeah, you can walk because there are like probably invisible walls that structure this building, and that's where the farmer is running into. Yeah, this door should be, there should be invisible wall for player only, and the door being non-collidable by AI, which is how I guess they made this. So yeah, besides that, let's just move on with the map and observe the surroundings here. We see these roads, we saw this before. We see those out of map barn houses here. Those are quite nice. It's a nice generic out of map design, it's not bad. It covers the outer parts nicely. This is where enemies actually spawn from and fight us when we are on this field. There is, as you can see, not much behind the bushes and the you know, these areas, the trees and everything. We saw this area in the earlier part, and yeah, this is the building in which we actually go into. So there's not much to see here. We can see the structure of it, of course, but there's not much else besides that. It's a pretty cool sequence. This is actually one of my favorite maps in terms of atmosphere. This is like one of my more favorite maps of this game. The atmosphere is the night, the Russian-like village and stuff. It's pretty nice. It's nice. So this is barn here, and yeah, this is the later parts of the map. We have again this render distancing thing. This is the previous area we were, and from this point on the map is like having a, it's like the midpoint of the map. The rest of the map is this way. So this area here where this brief battle happens is where the dogs spawn and everything. If you notice, there are those cracks on the ground, which is some pretty cool terrain work. It's a pretty admirable thing to see. Like, you wouldn't expect them to bother with such details, but look at that, they just outdid themselves. It's pretty cool. I always admire those stuff. Those is of course inside the map stuff, so it may not be that much worth noting in a Noclip video, since we prefer to see out of map stuff like this. Like, look at this road. We're here, and I doubt anyone even came here to observe this out of map area. But just in case, out of map design has one big flaw. Like, just in case someone goes to the edge of the map and looks outside the map, there has to be something there to indicate that the world is just not ending, like here. Because game design is basically building the illusion of a world around the player, which is basically what we see here. And you can see that right around this road and this edge over here, there's nothing. The terrain ends, and you can't see this change because it is designed in such a way that you can't see such things, you know. More of the cracks here, this area here, that's probably an enemy spawn. And now what I notice is that this area here is easy to notice, so maybe this is one out of map area that we can actually see. Yeah, it's actually an out of map area that we can see being a little bit glitched. So if I jump over here, let's say that we somehow, oh, that's actually pretty tall. Yeah, the collision for this one is pretty tall. Probably because the map designers didn't want you to be that high. So yeah, if we go on the wall, then we can still see some of the out of map glitches, which is you can find a lot of those, like minor out of map view perspectives that can show you some glitches. There's one very specific one in the Modern Warfare 2, the second favela level. I think I talked about this on my video, about the Noclip video of that map, I mean. So yeah, this is more of a multiplayer part. Like, this is a very distinguishable multiplayer side of this level. Like, yeah, I think it's Pipeline. What's the map? I don't remember the multiplayer map names. I do remember the maps, but I don't remember the map names. Haven't played that much multiplayer. And we see the creek area. This is actually one of my favorite areas, because when I first played this game back in, I don't even remember when. Like, look at that, the out of map part of this creek. Like, you're here, we start here, and if player goes this way, if he looks this way, you don't see these rough polygons. You still see like a somewhat lower detail area, but you never see this broken thing here. So someone may think, bro, why is this so bad? This is so ugly. We buy this game and it's so ugly, but it doesn't have to be pretty here. Like, nobody will ever see this, so there's no reason for them to put resources to make this high detail. That's like a perspective you will never normally see from in-game. So yeah, this is one of my favorite areas, because the first time I played this years ago, when the helicopter went by, there was that light beam coming out of it, and when this light beam went through the trees and doing this light effect, it was so impressive, and it still is pretty beautiful. I may show it later if I jump to scripted sequences. It was so impressive back then that I was like really I really liked it back then. But yeah, now it's just like, oh, that happens. Yeah, I know how this game works, so I don't really, there's not much that I can get impressed by in this game, and unless I find something I don't know, which, yeah, it's always nice to explore and find new stuff. This out of my barn area, which is pretty cool, and the other end of the creek, which is much more simplistic from the other side, which has different terrain. I don't know how far we can see. Yeah, we can kind of see the edge of map, but you are like, yeah, I mean, it is like that, but you're not really seeing the edge of it. Like, you may think that there's something outside because it's far away. I like the waterfall effect. Like, I never really bothered using those in my mods, although they're pretty nice. The water and everything, they're nice. Let's go on. Let's see, this is the part where I always try to do this silently, like go prone and go past this area, but I never manage to stay hidden. I don't think that you can make this through without being seen by the enemy. It's I don't think you can. I haven't seen it happen before. Who cares? It's fine. Never mind. Now the street. I'm trying to find if there's anything interesting here. Those open fields are quite nice, actually. I like the farmlands, farm fields design. I would like that. This is an oddly high detail. It's not very high detail, but it's an oddly detailed out of map area, which this reminds me of something, actually. I don't know if you can tell, but this reminds me of something very particular. Even actually, yeah, this whole section here reminds me of a very specific map. Even this house here. Oh boy, it all makes sense now. Now, this is a very interesting thing. If you played this game, and if you have played the safe house mission, in which we find Al-Assad, usually we find Al-Assad in a barn, which looks somewhat like this. And if you notice the prop placement and the terrain work of this section over here that I am looking at right now, from this road to this barn, is very, very similar to the barn in which we find Al-Assad in the safe house mission, which is later on in the game. We'll do it probably sometime in the future, hopefully. And oh, that nice gap here. Nobody will ever see this, I guess. I wonder why, like, you have this gap here. Like, what was in the map designer's mind? Like, we have this whole area here, and the only terrain patch the map designer had to cut is this one. That's a pretty odd decision. Like, I don't even know why. So yeah, this is a very interesting fact about this place. It feels like a copy-paste farmland terrain map design from that level, or vice versa. I think this is not the first version. Like, they took the terrain from the safe house level and they just built it here, put it here as an out-of-map thing, which is I had no idea. It's the first time I discovered this, and this is why these episodes are fascinating, because we discover stuff like that and I am able to talk about them if I know, if I have context about them. Yeah, this is very, very interesting. This discovery is like, it was worth it. It was really, really worth it. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. So when we go to the safe house area in the next in the future episode, if I ever do this, we will probably revisit this part, I guess. Let's move on to the next part. This is the sequence that we can't do stealth, like I said. A nicely broken building here. We saw this briefly before. Nice design, I like it. This area over here, it is what it is. In-game, map area. Those out of map fields. How far can you see? Like, can you see the blockiness? Whoa, I spawned enemies. Do not target, not a big deal. Yeah, you see the simplistic design. It's not very pretty. Yeah. It is what it is. What can you do? You can't do much about it. Nice floodlight. Although you see the sunlight and this floodlight, I do notice that okay, for context, you can't have more than one dynamic lights affecting the same world surface area in Call of Duty 4, because it's an old game and the dynamic, this is a dynamic light, for example. The sun is also a dynamic light, so they can't both affect the same world surface. For example, this terrain over here, this terrain patch, is not the same as this one. There's probably a cut that we cannot see. It's probably cut in half, because the sun and this floodlight cannot affect the same world surface. Now, not all lights are dynamic. For example, let me see if this is... No, this is not dynamic. This is just a baked light. Baked light means that it's done with compiling. There's an enemy. It's done there. It's not dynamic. It cannot change. It just affects an area the way it does. But this one can change. This one can be scripted, it can be turned off, it can affect you see the high quality of shadows it casts on my view model and stuff like that. Let the enemies just go around. They won't bother us because I have no target on. So yeah, hopefully this was interesting for you guys. Later on, we see this area on which we fight the helicopter with the Stinger missiles. This is also dynamic light as well. And the roof is probably... oh, let me see. I see this gap here, and I see that the sunlight comes from this side, so it should be going inside here. Now, what happens here is that probably... that's very interesting, actually. At some point, the sunlight stops and this light starts. So, I'm not sure how they did this, actually. There has to be some sort of plane covering the edges of these two dynamic lights, the sunlight and this lamp, that prevents them from affecting the same world surface. I do not know how they did this though. I am not sure what tools they used to do this, because you can see the sunlight, it's not sun, but you know, we call it sunlight because it simulates sun anyway. It affects my world model, and now here it stops, which means that there has to be some sort of limit that prevents it from affecting it. You see, this is sunlight. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where the edge is. I'm not sure what they did here. Like, I wonder what happens when you open the door, but I guess there is a shadow plane that prevents light from going through the door to prevent what I just explained before. But yeah, this is an interesting thing. Yeah, it's not much of an out of map thing, but it's also, I think it's worth noting as well. Again, we see that the moment we go a little bit higher than usual, we see out of map terrain gaps and stuff like that. Now, what if I go here? I saw a gap that maybe it's observable from the in-map area. Let me just, assuming you can go over this one, you can. Okay, let me just go. What if you can go? Of course you can. Yeah, that's expected. I can't really see the gap, although let me try this. Yeah, you can see it, but also you can't. Like, I don't know if you can see over there. There is like a terrain gap. This one over here, you can't actually see it. Yeah, and then we go up this, up this side, and we have the AC-130 sequence. I'll probably show it. And yeah, this is basically the end of the level. Sometimes I really try to run fast enough and reach the end of the bridge so I can see this, but no, I don't think. Actually, we can even see this gap over here. I forgot that there was nothing below. Like, can you even see the under bridge area? If you can, why did they even bother with this one? Okay, you can't actually see the area below the bridge without going this far, approximately. So yeah, this far is like, let's see, from this area, for example, as far as you can go before you are able to see the gap. And there are many gaps even behind these bushes. Okay, let's see some scripted sequences. Alright, so we are at the farmer sequence. Let's save the farmer and save quickly. Slow down the game. The farmer is using a weapon animation to walk. And look at that. He goes inside through the door and then deletes inside this area. Like I said, this is a surface that is collidable by a player and not by NPCs. This is easy to do. You basically do the door itself non-colliding, which is not collided by anything, and then you just put a clip for player. A clip is basically invisible walls. So yeah, that's how it is actually. That's all about the farmer. Now we are at the creek sequence, and we will see the helicopter casting its light through the what's the name? Trees. Yeah. How can you forget trees? Bruh. Okay, I'm gonna go. Actually, I'm gonna slow down the game. Look at that. This is. I don't know if this is a dynamic light or not, because it's very fascinating, because we have the sunlight as dynamic light, and then we have this, which is why I don't understand how they did this. I really don't know. This is pretty interesting because it's boggling my mind right now. Look at that, a very low quality NPC model inside the helicopter and nothing else inside it. This is probably because I have paused the game. Let me unpause it. What's happening? Whoop, come on. There we go. This is what I first saw years ago, and I was like, this game looks amazing. Now, what this is, it's not just a light, which it should be a light as well. It's also a model, 3D model actually, and an effect. I mean, I'm not entirely sure if it's a model, because there's a model that is used in Call of Duty 1 for the light of the, you know, those huge lights for the AA guns that point at the sky for the aircraft and stuff like that. Yeah, there is a model for that, and I'm not sure if they're using that or another one, or if this is just an effect. I'm really not sure what this is. Really not sure. But what I see here is a light, and I also see a sunlight. So we have two dynamic lights affecting the same world surface, which is really boggling me right now. And I don't know how to explain it. This is very interesting. Maybe because this is a scripted light and not a dynamic light that is placed in the editor. Maybe this is spawned somehow. I really don't know how this works. Dynamic lights are not something I have mastered yet in Call of Duty 4. So yeah, that's all I had to say about this. I really wish I knew more about it to explain how this works, because all I see right now is two dynamic lights affecting the same world surface, which is boggling to me. Or maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe the sunlight is not actually a dynamic light. Maybe the sunlight is just a static light. But this doesn't make sense, because look at that. We have shadows here, and those seem to be actual sunlight shadows. However, there is yeah, you can actually see the sunlight shadows. Those wouldn't be there if the sunlight wasn't a dynamic light. It's really, really baffling. Let me unpause, do a slowdown, and spawn over here. And yeah, you see, look at that. This is a dynamic light. It affects my view model like that. It shouldn't be like that. Also, yeah, I really think this is a model. Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. Look at that. Insane. Is there a turret like we usually see with lights? Can I use it? I don't think I can, because it's part of the vehicle, I guess. What can you do? Look at that. It's pretty cool. We'll go through the trees. Come on. Ah, it's not going through the trees. It's fine. Yeah, it's just extremely high on intensity. That's why it looks like that. Anyway, enough of the lights. Let's move on. So let's go and see the door. This is actually what I really wanted to see, because like I explained before, the dynamic lights work in such a way. Bro, look at this. Sunlight does go through, because right now it affects my view model. But also this, like if I turn around here, yeah, if I crouch, it's this light. If I stand, it's this light. Hey, this is insane. I don't even know where the edge is. This is crazy. Now, right ahead, we have the AC-130 section. Let's go up and see where it comes from. So, here we go. This is where the AC-130 is firing from. It basically is just an effect spawned right above the map, way above the map, and shooting down to that position down there. It's just right here if you see it. It's insane if you look at it this way. Like, you wouldn't know where it shoots from. You would expect to see an East 130 flying above. Alright, let's see if I can get past the whole area here. I'll wait for the AC-130 to start shooting first. Let's try to go. I mean, I have God mode, you wouldn't normally be able to do this. Oh, okay, it changes level way before you can reach the point on which you can see outside the map from the bridge. Okay, so there's that. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed this one because we discovered a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.